Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vincent Salucci. I'm a program maker for the TU Delft Library. Thank you for joining us for today's lunch lecture. It's a part of the Language by Power program that we've been offering this spring. As a part of this program, we have the exhibition by the Hague-based Serbian artist Katarina Petrovic, who works with algorithmic language works. And so I encourage you to check out that exhibition if you haven't seen it. We're dealing with the themes of language and power, technologies, influence on language, thinking about how large language models have entered disrupted our sort of perspectives within academia, but also in society at large. And then I came across the research of Dominique and how she's looking at some of the earliest forms of written language in the Cuneiform. And then using technology to discover much more about it. So it was like, oh, this is a perfect fit for our program. And I actually heard and read about Dominique's research just from being a part of the TU Delft community. And so it worked out for a chance that we can meet each other. And then we actually invited her over to the new media lab here in the TU Delft library. And we did a little bit of testing comparison of our 3D scanners versus some of the ones that she's been scanning. So after her talk today, we will have a small demo of the TU Delft Library 3D scanning resources, and she kindly brought some of her Cuneiform tablets so we can test it on that. And so we'll have a little bit of a hands-on show and tell after the talk and a little bit of a Q&A. So that'll be the order of events for today. And I think I'm just going to do a little bit of a formal introduction with Dominique's bio, and then I'll turn it over to her. So Dominique Ngan-Tillard is an associate professor of engineering geology in the section of geoengineering at the TU Delft. She specializes in modeling the subsurface in terms of structure and material properties, often using non-destructive testing techniques, and in predicting the response of the subsurface to various loadings. One key aspect of her research is the conceptual modeling of soil microstructures, supported by the fusion of multi-scale, multi-physics data. While the tools she has been developing may, in principle, be tested on whatever body of material, she does appreciate the unique valorization of heritage projects. And I just wanted to also mention that this work is done in collaboration with colleagues from Delft, Leiden University, DESY in Hamburg, and the CNRS in Nanterre. Okay, so I'll turn it over to Dominique.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this introduction. And I entitled my talk, The Original SMS, Tracing its Origin in 3D. And from the picture, you understand that I claim that the first SMS is this kind of artifacts, cuneiform tablets. I don't know how much you know about cuneiform. Good, there are some people who don't know much. So then, in my first chapter, I'm going to present these cuneiform tablets and explain you how beautiful they are and how much we can learn from them beyond the text which is impressed on these artifacts. But then we need techniques for getting additional information from the tablets, and I will present the 3D surface capture techniques that I have been trying on the tablets. Our exploration should not stop at the surface of the tablet, but we have to dive into its microstructure, and I will explain the techniques that I use for doing this. Then I will conclude, give some perspective about this research, and then we will have the Q&A, of course, and then we will have the demo here. So that's the plan. Now, as already said, my research, I'm not doing this research on my own. It's really a multidisciplinary field because I'm not an Assyriologist, so I work with Assyriologists from Leiden, Caroline Weyer-Zarer, Rins de Boer, from Paris, Cécile Michel, she's a very famous Assyriologist. I worked with archaeologists, mainly they were in Leiden. Unfortunately, the person with whom I was introduced to the world of cuneiform passed away. But I like to remember him, so he's on my slide. Myself, I'm a geoscientist, and I work with colleagues who are mastering techniques to study geomaterials, but also work with people from the Nuclear Reactor Institute to have access to other techniques to explore the tablets. I work with people from mechanical engineering to do chemical analysis of the tablets, mineralogical analysis. Also, I have a big project proposal with people from Leiden, Paris, and Daisy. In Daisy, in Germany, there is a synchrotron, which is a very rare facility. And they are doing very cool things there. So I work also with them. And then it's happened that I work with Hubert Marat when he was at Heidelberg University. At that time, well, he was extracting characters on cuneiform tablets. And now, maybe if you would Google him, then you would see that he's trying to translate automatically cuneiform text using AI. And he's now in Berlin. And I also work with a lady from Turkey, a specialist in clay mineralogy, since the tablets are made of clay. And then, these cuneiforms, they are really remarkable little artifacts, and this from many perspectives. Certainly, they are among the earliest written artifacts, and they have been used over a very long durée, more than 3 millennia, until they were used until the first century after death. It's also amazing to see how far they spread. They started probably in South Mesopotamia, so southern Iraq, spread to northern Iraq, reached Anatolia, were used in Persia, as well as in the Levant up to Egypt. So huge area, the whole ancient Middle East was using tablets to communicate. And what I like about these tablets is also the diversity of their text. So I say they are SMS. Why I'm saying this? Because they are small and the text is very concise. You don't have much space to write on such a tablet. This is a real size, by the way. And you see many of them, you can hold them in your hands. Some people say they are spreadsheets, and I find this a little bit pejorative because it's true that many tablets recovered here were administrative tablets written by accountants to figure out transactions, keep track of this, or they were contract. Like this one, a very nice one. You know what it is? It is a list, I guess not. It's a list of landowner. So different plots of land are described and the owner are written. So it's a nice one. This one is a transaction to pay some work done by woman, then a brother send to his brother some cereals. This kind of payment. But the tablets, they are more than just this administrative text. You have also letters, private letters. Like here, I have an example we studied a lot, this one, a letter of a son to his mother, and the relationship between the two are not good. Later I can tell the story. There are also royal correspondences between kings of Mesopotamia and queens of Egypt. I mean, many, we have also this kind of things. We have poems, we have derivation of mathematical equations, we have more than this. What else I wanted to say? So equations. And cooking recipes also. So many different style of text. And then what is very special about these tablets is their material, clay. I'm saying this because I'm a geoscientist, so I like to talk about clay. Linnea, she's one of our students, she knows clay in engineering, sometimes it's a chance, sometimes it's really a bad luck, right? But here we take this as a chance this time, because in Mesopotamia, it was widely and freely available. So that was easy to take along the floodplains of the main rivers, the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. As you know, when it is wet, it's easy to mold it in the shape you want. So in a small cushion or a disc or a rectangle. And it's easy to impress what you have created. You just go to the river bank, you take a reed, you cut it like it is shown here, and then you use the points to impress the characters. And cuneiform, by the way, comes from the Latin cune. Well, I've never learned Latin, but it's coming from Latin, and then it means a wedge. And this is the wedge script, if you want. And what is also very nice with clay is that when it is dry, just air dry, no need to bake, it becomes hard, very hard. And it becomes a very durable material, so durable that now we have more than 1 million tablets from the past. So it means that they have been used for a long time, I said more than 3,000 years, but then they survived also, in addition to this, 2 millennia. So quite impressive. Here you have a photo of the library of a ruler, very mighty, Ashurbanipal. This is a photo taken at the British Museum. You see many tablets, small ones, bigger ones, because that ruler wanted to have a collection of clay tablets of text, scholarly text. So he had 30,000 tablets in this library. But unfortunately, at a certain time, his palace was set on fire and everything was destroyed. But the tablets survived and they became even stronger because baked clay, we know it's even stronger than air-dried clay. So here, this is these tablets were very neatly ordered, right, in a library. We think, because the way we found them, they were really, it was a mess, but okay. We assume it was well ordered. People were storing their tablets differently. Do you know how? What do you do with your postcards? Yeah, you make a pile, maybe you have a box. They have a jar. Then they were putting them inside. And we see that they were also recycling them, because we find them underneath the foundation of some houses. So, yes. And the clay is also interesting because it managed to capture many unintentional things which happen to the tablets. For example, fingerprints of the person who wrote the tablet. Traces of support. Here it's smooth, but imagine that I had a mat, then the mat would be would be impressed in the tablet. I would be maybe able to say what material they were using to make their mats. The fingerprints are especially interesting because then we hope to learn about the gender and the age of the script. Because the density of ridges and valleys in your fingerprints depends on your age, if you are young or adult, but also on your sex. Women have a denser ridge, how do you say? More ridges, denser, closer, smaller ridges than men. And then if we know if a tablet has been written by a woman, that would be interesting. We know where to check, because there are tablets which were text written by woman to woman. So we would target this one and check look for fingerprints. And then if we can see that, the woman, we find fingerprints, then we have the proof that women could write. Now it's not clear if they were just asking a script to write the letter or not. So we will investigate literacy in the past with these clues. I skip the others, and maybe I should have shown. So, for example, the one tablets found in central Anatolia, you see, has several fingerprints. So it's this kind of things that we want to study. And then it's clay. So clay has some impurities or inclusions, and then it has voids. From the voids, we can learn how they were made. For example, you have tablets which were wrapped. They had an envelope. And then, kind of like us, even a postcard, sometimes we put it inside the envelope. So even if it was not so important, some tablets had an envelope. And then by looking inside, then you can reach text which was not read for maybe 4,000 years, if we are able to look inside. And then we can also look at, it's how they were making their envelope. They were folding here. And then you can see, the side. A bit like when we make a parcel, we always have problems with finishing the parcel, right? And then you see here how they proceeded once you manage to go inside beyond the envelope. And inside the clay, we find a lot of things. Sometimes it's many elongated things or seed-like things, which are just the phantoms of plant parts which have disappeared, but then their print remain inside. So we want to understand why we find so many. Is it that the clay or the place where they were making their tablets was very polluted, that next to them people were processing cereals? Or is it that they really wanted to improve the workability of the clay? Because clay can be sticky. So if you had a bit of plant remains, make it less sticky. Maybe they wanted to improve the strength, more resistant to impact. So we have to investigate this. And then with the different types of remains we find, we want to investigate paleo environments. So sometimes we find grains or parts of plants, which means, this is a kind of barley which grows when in semi-arid environment, a wheat which is resistant to drought. So it gives some information about their way to adapt to climate changes. Sometimes in some tablets I find little snails like this, or the impression. And then it means, okay, they have not processed much their clay if you find snails inside. But the snails also, they say something. This one, like environment which are wet and controlled by men. They're human beings. There are others which thrive in more semi-arid environment. So we learn again about the environment which was prevailing in the past. And then now, and then the tablets, they are stored like this. Or that was how the tablets were stored in Leiden, where there are 3,000 tablets. But then you see, they are not related to any archaeological context, because often they have been purchased, given, they were excavating, and people were not recording this type of information. So now we have tablets, we can read them, but sometimes we don't know even where exactly it was excavated. So now we want to learn more about the tablets and try to reconstruct their ancient environment, reconstruct their biography. So then first we look at the surface. And so this is the tablet, this one, no? The letter of the son to his mother. And here this is how Assyriologists would proceed. This is a drawing made by the Assyriologists who split the envelope to read the tablet, because the text was so interesting he could not resist. Of course, at his time, there were no micro-CT scanner to avoid breaking physically the tablet. But, so that he was proceeding the way people were doing. There was nothing wrong about this. And then he was transcripting the information. And then we would like to capture this, so the text, but also the seal. This I forgot to mention, but this is something that they were using to put, to show that it's theirs. They asked the script to write, and it's theirs. Then they had a personal seal, a cylinder they would roll, and then make this, these are not impressions because they pop up on the tablet. And then we want to capture the fingerprints also. But yeah, that's complex, because the tablet is 3D. It has information on all sides. If you open the tablets, you also need to go into the concavities. The text cuneiform is 3D. The seal is 3D. The shades are variable. You see some light brown, whitish, black. Features, they are really sub-millimeters. And the most delicate one, I would say they are the seals here, this one, to capture the most difficult. So, yes. And so it means we need a resolution at least 50 micrometer. This is from the different trials I did over the years, that I can say this. And there are many techniques, photogrammetry that you can do with your mobile, LiDAR, also with the iPhones you can do this. But I have more experience with these structured light scanners, and I had the possibility to try on this tablet, 2 of them. They work with structured light. You know what is structured light? So you illuminate the object you want to scan with light made of bands of light. And then if you look from another perspective than from where you send the light, you see that the illumination is distorted. And by working on the distortion, then you can construct the shape of the object. And there are some scanners which are mobile, like this one. It's a bit like an iron, and then you go all around the artifact. Or there are some which are where the tablet is here, the light is coming from here, and it's the platform which rotates, but also tilts, so in many directions, so that you have less manipulation to do. Do you see a problem with this one already? Yes. Money? No, it's cheaper than that one. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We have to turn. Yeah, that's one problem, but with all the scanning techniques, except the micro CT scanner, you need to turn. Yeah?
You still need to open it.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You see only the surface. That's very true. Another problem is that, the clay tablets, they are precious, and because they are written artifacts, and the museums, they hate the idea that we claim them to scan them, because they are afraid we damage, that we remove little chips. And what I have not yet said is that all research on these tablets has to be done in a non-destructive way, which is very challenging. And yes, so, and then, there are people, I'm not the only one scanning tablets. There are Italians who made a table comparing techniques and many different criteria to figure out what is the most performant, low-cost equipment. And of course, you also need software, and there are some user-friendly software, open source, luckily. But of course, everything goes very fast, like the two, this one, which claim has a resolution of about 5 micrometer, and this one, which is an update of the very well-known spider scanner from Artec. They appeared in the last 2 years. So technology is changing very fast, so these tables have to be updated. But then here is, so just forget this for the time being, I just stand here. So this is the original photo, and then the Spider 2 model. When you look like this, you say, it's not really super, right? We don't really see the details. But if you start turning, you put grazing light on the tablets, then it starts to be much more visible. But then you have to keep on turning, looking at different zones on the tablet. But there is a filter which is very friendly with the user. Very powerful is this radiance lead sphere scaling rendering, which really reveals the concavity and convexity of the tablet. And when you compare this to this, tell me if you see a difference. It's not easy. And then to find big differences. And then when you compare this to what the Assyriologists extracted, you say, well, it's similar. Maybe except here. Here I don't see, while here he has represented a sign. But you know, this sign, the seal is all over on the side. And on the tablet here, he could not see the sign, but elsewhere on the side, he could see it. So he made one picture out of different prints on the tablet. So when you realize this, then you consider, yeah, the capture is excellent. And then once you have the model, the digital model, here it's only a rendering. Huh? I have not modified the model. But from the digital model, you can calculate curvature, select the curvature you want, and then you highlight the characters. And then you take the red ones, you compare to this. It's a job that I did in 5 minutes yesterday, and then you see, oh, that's pretty good. So I think this can speed up certainly the work of Assyriologists, although they have to double-check their results. Huh? And here I use a very simple tool. There are some multi-scale integral invariant which can extract features of different scale and highlight better, for example, the fingerprints than what it is done here. Yeah. And then, so I said I scan with different machines. When I compare these two machines from Artec, from the model, I don't see any difference, except maybe a glue at the corner, which was used to repair the tool, which looks different. But otherwise, no difference. And then, to be sure, I subtracted the models, and I could see that one, the blue one, was higher than the other one. And if I look at the back of the tablet, of the envelope, that was the same. So it means that when we reconstructed we stitch scans, we didn't do that well. Probably we have a small... and then when I calculated, despite this difference, the little bit wrong alignment of the scans, I obtained a distance between the meshes of less than 100 micrometer, which is, I find this is very, very good. And then I also obtained, yes. I also scan tablets, and of course, when you scan tablets with a X-ray scanner, the first thing you need is to have a good geometry of the object, so that from the different pictures that you took during the scan, you can reconstruct the object. So you can also produce this surface, which I did here. When you look at, you compare, you see that this one is more noisy. And then when I compare this one to this one, I realize, okay, but the noise is where we have a small coating, irregular coating. So I don't know yet why we don't see this noise on the Spider and Artec, micro Artec scans. We have to figure out how the data have been filtered, probably denoised, and then the noise which exists then gone missing. Yeah, and then with the tablets, you can also, with the laser, not the laser, the structured light scanner that I presented, there are also lenses to take pictures, and from the pictures you can reconstruct also the tablet with its texture, so its color. At least you get, I would say, realistic colors. So here we see the zones which are whiter, and this is clear. There are zones with manganese growth, also present on the real tablets. So This is okay, I would say. But then we want to see inside. I already mentioned this, that we think we can learn, certainly read the text hidden by the envelope, and more. But the first purpose was of the scans, the first tablet, real tablet data scan, that was this, to reveal the text. Because I had been scanning for projects that we call scanning for Syria, molds, to reconstruct tablets which were the real ones were stored in Raqqa in Syria, and during the civil war they vanished. But the Dutch archaeologists, they had the molds because they wanted to read the text in Leiden or Amsterdam. So from this, we did a lot of scan, and we could make replicas of these tablets which had disappeared. But that was a little bit frustrating to use a micro CT scan just to get all the wedges and the concavities on of the tablets. So then at a certain time, I got the possibility to scan a real tablet with an envelope. So that was this one. And just to reveal the tablet. And it worked very well. But then I realized, yeah, we see more than this. We see some voids. We see some minerals. So, yeah, we can say more about the material. Oh, yes, that's the first scan. So you see the outside, a cross-section inside. Then, yeah, no surprise here. It's a wrapped envelope, a wrapped tablet, inner tablet and its envelope. And then I can reconstruct in 3D the inner tablet, get it out. I forgot to how do you say, to integrate a video showing that we can look at it from all sides. But there are also some voids and inside the clay. And then when I represented them in 3D, an archaeobotanist to whom I wanted to show the results, because I had the impression these are plant remains, said, oh yes, this one is a 2-row barley. It's a domesticated sort of barley. So it's quite nice that you can even recognize some plant remains. Sometimes they are seeds that you pop. Yeah, well, a lot of different seeds that you can find. And then, you can show what you have in the plant remains in the envelope. Then add the one inside the tablet. Yeah, and then you can close back everything if you want. And then I did this for many tablets. And it's not only in this one that we find these plant remains, but in many other tablets. So now we want to understand why is that. So it's research going on using replicas. Well, this one I will skip because I think I have to hurry up. I'm okay? Okay, then I'm okay. Then you are going to hear about this one. This one is a small one, a tiny little tablet. This is this one. So it's, outside is not very pretty. But inside, then I can show the void between the tablet and the envelope. Because of course, if the envelope would stick to the tablet, then we would not be able to open. So then people start thinking, yeah, but how did they manage to get an envelope not sticking on the tablet? So if you have some suggestion, I'm happy to hear. Yeah. So. Yeah, some people have said that, but I don't think it's like this. Yeah. Oil, so people propose this. I have another theory. is that, both are wet clay, right? But then the envelope exposed to the atmosphere dries faster. It contracts. And when it contracts, it goes into contact with the tablet. It shrinks. It goes into so much contract that it takes the print of the characters on the tablet. And then afterwards, it's up to the tablet to dry and to shrink. Then it separates from the envelope. Yeah, so I think it's like this. Not everyone is convinced, but I think it's like this. And then you see also the way, you see, they have the envelope at the top, and it's here the ridge where they connected both sides. And then here, it's where they push to close the envelope on the side. And then you see differences, different styles. This one is neat. Sometimes it's ooh. But we recognize this also with the Christmas presents, right? There are some people who do very well. Others, like me, And then, the tablets with some craters, because also with these techniques you can look at the state of preservation of the tablets. If needed, you can suggest restoration. And there are some tablets, that the case of this other one, the one from Anatolia, which are full of inclusions. You see the white things, black things, gray, light gray. And then if they have different X-ray attenuation, it means that they have different density, these inclusions, than the clay matrix, and that they have a different atomic number. So it means that, this gives us information about the minerals, but still we don't know what they are. But then, if we put the same tablet in the nuclear reactor, and this is what happened to that tablet, then you start seeing differences, because the micro-CT, the X-ray, interacts with the electrons around the nucleus of the atoms, while the neutron, they interact with the nucleus. So then we get different image, and they are complementary. So now I have a BSc student who is going to look at this and try from the difference in attenuation to figure out what is what. Because a neutron, for example, lead absorbs X-ray, right? We use lead as a protection against X-ray. But if you put lead inside the nuclear reactor, you do tomography, it is transparent. So they don't react the same way, so that we hope to derive information about the mineralogy. And then if we have the mineralogy, maybe we can link the tablet to its provenance. Because sometimes, we know where it has been found, but doesn't mean that it has been sent where it has been found. And we would like to know where the sender was when he sent it. Like this, we could retrace trading routes, for example. And luckily, there are differences between the geology of Iraq and South Iraq, North Iraq, and the geology of Turkey. So we hope to be able to say something about the provenance of the different tablets. And then to come to my conclusion, I would say, it's important to read these cuneiform tablets beyond their text. And then we realize for doing this, we really need to push non-destructive techniques beyond the state of the art. So now I've talked about our techniques, the micro-CT that we have at the Laboratory of Geoscience and Engineering, the nuclear reactor, which is on the campus. But of course, we can't move thousands tablets to Delft for doing investigation. So the group, DAISY, where you have a synchrotron in Germany, they have made a transportable micro-city, which goes to different places. Museums, it has gone to the Louvre. You might think not challenging, but it is, more than you might think. It has gone up to Ankara. Soon it will be in Jena, in Germany. So it works, and very fast. But then, from this, it's still not sufficient. We need to do more to find information of the mineralogy. So this is a research project, which has been a proposal that we have submitted to the ERC Synergy call, and we will see what's happened. And then also I want to highlight the fact that, when we talk about digitalization, we should think that it's not only the surface, but we have to think of going inside the tablet. We have also to realize that our digital models, they are not going to be as durable as our tablets, right? The tablets, they last several millennia. Our digital files, I'm afraid much less. But still, it's good to create databases with well-documented information about the techniques which have been used to make these models. And here I would like to stop.
Thank you, Dominique. We have a few moments for questions. I know there was a burning one earlier, so I'm going to start with the gentleman behind me.
Hi, I was wondering, do you then see, so this is about the outer shell of the tablet drying up first, and then the inner one, the thing that you proposed. I was wondering, do you see a difference in the scale of the features of the outer shell versus the inner one?
Not really, no. I see everything has gone up to completely dry, so I don't see a difference in size of the features. But what is amazing, maybe, is that even I find, many people told me, the archaeobotanists who I asked, look at the tablet. He said, I'm not going to see anything because, they are writing on them. So they don't want to have plant remains hiding their characters. I say, but so he looked, and then he said, maybe I see one. And then I showed him the scan, and then he was really surprised. And then we see these plant remains on the envelope and also inside the tablet. But I have not mentioned this, but there are cases of fraud. People made a new envelope because then they were more pricey to sell. And then sometimes you realize, but the clay is completely different from that of the tablet. It has not the inclusions of the tablet. So, you could think also, maybe some people say, but maybe they have been moving, they had not finished their letter, and they send it from another place and they wrapped it. Yes, it's difficult, but we can make some scenarios. And then, of course, if we could date something, that would be great. But it's not so easy when you consider that we can't take any piece of the... it's non-destructive techniques that we have to use. So for dating, I don't know what could be done.
Could you use, if you find a plant remain that is between the envelope and the tablet, could you maybe try to get the DNA that may be left there from the plant sequence?
So there are some people doing this on bricks, which I know that a brick in a museum, and then it seems that the brick broke down, and then, they were lucky, and they did some DNA, DNA of the... But DNA is not that straightforward for this 4 millennia old artifacts. But but then you need to be lucky to have a break and no one contaminating. and then you have to see also the tablet. They have been buried often for millennia in the ground. And then a lot of processes took place, and maybe water charged with the DNA of another plant. So, not so easy to interpret. But people are busy with this, yeah. You could also think of finding a hair, maybe, of the scribe. But I have not seen this yet.
Any other questions?
In the theory where the tablet shrinks within the envelope, it would not be possible for the tablet to be dried first and then the envelope created after, right? Or how long does it take for the tablet to dry completely?
What we have done in my kitchen, some trials, and I know that it works. When I make my tablet, I let it aside, and then I work on my envelope, and then I write the impression, I write, and then afterwards I let everything dry, and then I break. It's not that easy to break the envelope, by the way, but then they separate. So I think, I don't know, they were busy, these people writing, so I think the most efficient way would be I prepare my tablet, I wrap, I'm not waiting a long time that it is dry to wrap and make a text. And the text, by the way, often is summarized on the envelope. So if it's a transaction about grains, and then you have on the tablet is specified this type, X tons of wheat, Y ton of sesame. On the tablet, they are going to put the sum of the weight. These people had really to take care of good numbers, good administration, and able to summarize. So, yeah.
Maybe time for one last one. Someone has it?
Yeah.
Just curious, what was the language in which it was inscribed?
Yes, this is a good...
And one more thing, how do you go about the seals? How do you interpret it? Does it have a meaning? Or?
Oh, yes, that's a good question, and I prepared a slide for this. And then it's... the cuneiform is more like a script, and then it was used, I think, in almost 15 different languages. And then they started... Maybe it's not the best, Yeah, I forgot that I have all these animations. Oh, yes. And then, of course, I hide the slide, so sorry. Well, I show it like this. And then this is what I took from a very nice video, if you are interested in cuneiform, by Irving Finkel. He works at University College of London, I think, but in London, that's for sure. And then he showed how signs have changed from the early cuneiform to the more modern cuneiform. So more than 3,000 years in between this sign and that one. And you see at the beginning, people were not impressing, pushing the wedge, but they were using a pointed pen and then making lines instead of pushing. And that was very, at the start, that was very much like a pictogram and not abstract at all. So you see, do you know what it is, this one? I give a little clue. This one is that one. You got it? Not. Yeah, almost eating. That's the word. That's the character for eating. A bowl and a head. And then here, this is not from me saying this, but this is Irving Finkel. He takes the example. This one, which has become like this, it's mountain. He says that mountain. I can't read, so I have to believe him. And he takes this one, and with this sign, the triangle and the slot, you know what it is? They mean a woman. And this sign, he says, is a woman coming from a foreign country, from over the mountains. And this one is sun, this one is star, this one is people, you see? Person. First, they were drawing someone standing, and no one knows why, but then starting to lie down. So it's quite interesting also to see, to look at the evolution of the signs. But it's not my domain. I have to, so I repeat what I have learned, and yeah, thank you for your attention. That was a pleasure to see so many questions and to see some faces, some people I know, so others I don't. Yeah, well, thank you.
Join me in thanking Dominique one more time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And then if you want to have a close look and manipulate the tablet, feel free.
Yep.
And
we would like
don't worry also, if you drop them, it could break, but then our technician will make another one.
So we have, 3D printed or digitally fabricated replicas here for you to handle. So we invite everyone who's interested afterwards to please come and join us up here. And we also want to show that the 3D scanner is also a structured light scanner that we have available in the library. This is a 3D scanner that is a resource that actually students and staff and faculty have access to via appointment. So we want to show this resource off, and we have some dedicated support for that. So actually my colleague Niels over here will join us, and so he'll be leading the demo part of the talk. And I want to thank you again for attending this lunch lecture, and then also a small reminder that the last event in the Language by Power program will be an outdoor cinema on the green roof on the 22nd of May, and so we hope you join us for that occasion as well. It should be nice if weather's nice. Okay, thank you.